Good evening, everybody. Happy Sunday. Today we are here again in Ask the Doctor. Um, I'm Dr. Israel, and always with us is Dr. Fred, and we also have Dr. Blessing, who is also our co-host. Yeah, Dr. Fred is available, but still not available. And that is on transit. So maybe before the end of the program, is going to join us. So today we'll be talking, and we'll be doing almost all the things alone today. But I pray and I hope that Dr. Fred gets to his destination on time so that he can also join in saying one or two things concerning the topic for today. As we know, Ask the Doctor is every Sunday by 8 p.m. We come here to discuss some medical issues. So thank you for always being with us. Good evening, Bella Smith. Congratulations, Bella Smith. Congratulations. You put to bed today. Congratulations. Alice, we see you. Alice, we see you. Yeah, today we'll be talking about food poisoning. Today we'll be talking about food poisoning. Lovett said food poisoning is very bad though. Yeah, today we'll really know how bad it is, or if it's really very bad or not. So I want you to just comment and tell us what you know by what you understand by the word food poisoning. And whatever you think you understand by the word food poisoning, you can just put it in the comment, and for us to hear what you have to say. Bello, good evening. You are welcome to today's live section. Joyce Minke, good evening. Abala, thank you. Amen. Amen. And God will also bless your family as well. So as I earlier said, just drop whatever you know, what you understand by the word food poisoning. Just drop it on the lives on the comments so that we'll move on. So we'll move on. We would like you to share. Please share this live so that other persons can join us and know many things about their health. Because prevention is better than cure, and I will also say prevention is cheaper than cure. Also, I will also want to quickly remind you guys that we don't prescribe on this live stream. We just give you tips, health tips that will make you live healthy, and also try to advise you on things we know you need good counsel and good counsel about, so that you can make a good decision at all time. Good evening, winner. Thank you for joining us today. Silas, good evening. So I said today we're talking about food poisoning. So I think I will just start so that we'll not waste most of our time while we stay await Dr. Fred to join us. Now, food poisoning is also what we can call foodborne illness. That is diseases or illness that is caused due to food that we eat, and this may be due to how it is prepared or how it is being handled. So they are commonly known as food poisoning, and they can be due to contamination from bacteria, from viruses, from parasites, or from the toxins of this bacteria of this organism. Okay, I can see what Abiola said. He said it can be referred to as any food in which we ate feel uncomfortable as a result of eating it, probably as result of improper hygiene or substandard ingredients. Okay, thank you. Okay, Lovett says food poisoning. Lovett says food poisoning is eating a Sirua food or food that is not left overnight. Okay, I would say food that is not left or food that is left overnight. And love it. Thank you. Okay, now as I think I've given us the definition that food poisoning are food illness that are gotten from food that we eat. And they can be due to contamination of this food. And this contamination can be from bacteria, it can be from parasites, it can be from viruses, it can also be from the toxins that is produced by these bacteria, viruses, or parasites. These are what can actually lead to food poisoning. And I will tell you that it's a common illness among the immunosuppressed persons. That is, those are some persons that are really at risk of coming down with food poisoning. Now, people that their immune system is reduced, they can actually have food poisoning. Pregnant women can also come down with food poisoning. Also, children can come down with food poisoning, and the elderly can also come down with food poisoning. So what are the signs and symptoms of food poisoning? What will people come down with that will make you know that yes, this may likely be food poisoning? As I earlier said, you remember most of the time when we talk about signs and symptoms, it may not just be that because you see this, you can just say, yes, this is this. No, but it's a likely diagnosis to whatever we'll be telling you. So these are some things you will see that you can actually say, okay, this person maybe he's having food poisoning. Yeah, he's having food poisoning. Oluche, good evening. I will also want to remind you that this is Ask the Doctor that we do every Sunday by 8 p.m. Okay, now the signs and symptoms of food poisoning. One of the signs and symptoms is abdominal cramps, or let's just say abdominal pain. You see the person having stomach pain and layman tone. Okay. You see the person having stomach pain, the stomach will be squeezing, the pain comes and go. For some cases, you see the person, sometimes it will be so painful that, man, the guy can just be rolling on the bed or crying for pain. Another sign is diarrhea, purging. The person will be purging, stooling of watery stool. Another one is vomiting. Another one is feeling like vomiting, which is known as nausea. The person is vomiting, sometimes having that feeling like he want to vomit, then he's having abdominal pain, is stooling. Now, some of them will have loss of appetite, they cannot eat. Some may be having fever. And because of this diarrhea, vomiting, some will come down with weakness. They will have generalized body weakness. And also some will also come down with headache. So these are some of the signs and symptoms that persons may come down with when they have food poisoning. Oluchi, thank you. Yeah, we used to be on Instagram on live, but we've moved to Facebook now. Yeah, thank you for checking out on us on that ground. So those are the signs and symptoms. As I earlier said, we have abdominal pain, we have diarrhea, we have nausea. Nausea means feeling like vomiting. We have loss of appetite. Some persons will not be able to eat. You see some persons that they are stooling, they are vomiting. Yeah, they are stooling, they are vomiting. Yeah, love it. Yes, you're on point. Vomiting, purging, weakness is very bad. Yeah, some have very bad, and they are very uncomfortable. And it is not easy now to be stooling, having abdominal pain all the time. Yeah, this thing, we decided to take this topic because we just passed this festive period, and up to now, some people are still in the festive gallon. So sometimes some of us may even come down with this condition. I even myself, I think I came down with it sometime few days ago, and I just recovered from it. So I think it is nice for us to actually know some of these things. Now, food poisoning can affect anybody. But I know I've given some risk factors, some persons that are most prone to come down with food poisoning. As I said, those that the immune system is reduced, those the pregnant women, because some of these bacteria, these viruses, they may be in the system and the body can ward them off. But when your immune system is a bit low, and the body may not be able to ward them off. And sometimes, in some cases, this food poisoning can become worsening. You can have some severe condition where there's severe dehydration, where in this case the patient have lost, or the client have lost a lot of fluid from lost a lot of fluid. So this can lead to admission and otherwise. Now another question some persons ask is, how long does food poisoning last? How long does it last? Now it varies. It varies. In normal Moses, please. We're sorry we don't give our numbers on our live stream. If you want to make any consultation, you just add Dr. Fred and you see the link to follow for consultation. Thank you. Now, some persons will want to know, how long does this food poisoning last? It may last within 30 minutes to about 8 weeks. Some persons can have it up to that. However, even without you treating it, without you taking medication, most cases resolve within a week, within 1 week, within 3 to 1 week. Some persons with food poisoning would have gotten their self back, even though you didn't treat it, you didn't take any medication, you didn't take anything. Yes, some food poisoning, they are self-limiting. They just wear off on their own. And remember, I told you that they are caused by bacteria, they are caused by bacteria, parasites, and virus, and some toxins that is found in this that is produced by these bacteria and otherwise. And when these things are in our food, that is, our food are being contaminated by this parasite or the toxin, that is when we come down with food poisoning. So this is to tell us that our food should be well prepared to avoid food poisoning. And even when we prepared our food very well prepared and all that, also the way we handle our meal also can lead to it as well. So for someone that is having the pathogen in his body, that's like a carrier, if he did not wash his hand properly and goes to touch meal that's already prepared, it can also transmit this bacteria to other individuals. Dr. Fred, are you with us now? Okay, Dr. Fred wants to say hi to
Hello, Dr.
us.
Israel. Good evening. How are you doing, Dr. Israel?
We are doing well.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm unavoidably absent today. I'm still on transit, and I just said, let me say hi to everybody. You're doing a very good job. Thank you very much. When I'm much settled, we'll continue again. But I've been in the program, and you're doing very well. So you can also take some of the questions, help them respond to their comments, and I will see you guys later. Thank you so much. Well done.
Thank you, Mr. Alex. Dr. Fred is not with us yet. He's still on transit, but we hope he will join us before the end of this slide. We hope he will join us before the end of this slide. Yeah, we'll be taking questions. So you can be dropping your questions as we continue talking about food poisoning. Maybe before the end of the discussion, we'll take your questions as they come. As they come. I want to say a very big thank you. I will also remind you that this Ask the Doctor is every Sunday by 8 p.m. No African time. We try not to have African time by 8 p.m. every Sunday. And we just try to make it 1 hour from 8 to 9. We are three in numbers, three doctors, Dr. Fred, the host, myself, Dr. Israel, the co-host, and Dr. Blessing. But today, I think I'm here alone with Dr. Fred at my back. So he's on transit, but he will be with us soon. Thank you, Mr. Alice. Okay, as I was saying, now we said the causes is bacteria, parasites, and viruses that can cause food poisoning when our food they are contaminated with these organisms. Now, and how can this be? One, when our food is not well prepared, we can these bacteria, because most of the food we eat, your meats, your vegetables, these bacteria are already there. They're already in them. So when you don't wash them very properly and you don't prepare them very well, some persons we inject them into our system and we come down with this with food poisoning. And also, when the food you are buying, the method of preparation, the hygienic level of the person preparing the food is not top notch, we can also come down with it, because hygiene is very key in terms of preventing in terms of prevention. So when your hygiene is not key in preparing your meal, or where you get your meal, their hygiene is something else. Now that's how some persons come down with food poisoning. Thank you, Joe. Thank you. Is cholera a form of food poisoning? Now, okay, you know, cholera is most of the time we get that from water, contaminated water. Yeah, even the food poisoning, when we say foodborne illness, we are talking about everything that is being injected. So if we want to say cholera is a form of food poisoning, but we'll not be taking it as one of the extreme parts of food poisoning. As I earlier said, their signs and symptoms are same. Remember, I also said there are some severe signs and symptoms like dehydration, severe dehydration, and even sometimes some persons urinating blood. Yes, when you start having those kind of things, it becomes a severe case. And cholera is also a severe case. It's a severe case. Okay, so we can actually want to put it there, but it's on its own. It has its own. It's a diagnosis of its own, and the management of it is similar to every. It's similar, because prevention is the first key. So when you prepare your food very well, you likely not come down with food with food poisoning. Also, if you use your toilet or your pack some dirt and you fail to wash your hands, sometimes we can also come down with that. When you eat some raw food, our fruits not properly washed, but before eating, some persons can come down with can inject this bacteria, and from there they can actually get food poisoning. Now, the commonest bacteria that causes food poisoning is E. coli. Please don't ask me anything about it. Just know it's E. coli. Then another one is Salmonella. The one that we cry when we're talking about typhoid is caused by Salmonella typhi, and other Salmonella species, yes, which typhi is part of it, can also give us food poisoning. Now we have the Shigella as well, which can also give us food poisoning. So these are some bacteria, the E. coli and the Salmonella. They are the ones that actually cause most of the bacteria infected food poisoning that we come down with. And yes, they can be treated. They can be treated. They can be treated. Remember I said some parasites can also cause it. Some viruses can cause it. So sometimes when viruses cause food poisoning, most of them are self-limited. One of the viruses that can cause food poisoning is hepatitis A virus. Yeah, and which can actually go to affect, which can also affect the liver. You can also see that from there, because it's fecal oral. Now, most of the way people get this food poisoning is what we call fecal oral, from the anus to the mouth. Yeah, because because even some of this food that we get, what the manure that is used and getting from some dumps and all that. So when they are not properly washed, people can actually inject infected meal. So let me just look at one or two questions again and continue what we are talking about. Now, Alice is asking, how do one combine the vegan diet or healthy benefits of foods like half-cooked steaks or freshly prepared salad? Now, the first thing we should know is that even this salad and those we don't actually cook, let's say they half cooked as you called it. One thing is to first of all wash your product very well. There are fruit you don't cook your fruit, but what do we say about them? You said wash it very well. So when you wash your products very well before ingesting them, most likely you're going to save yourself from these bacteria and all that. And even though these bacteria may maybe you inject some of these bacteria, they may not be enough due to your immune system. They may not be enough to cause you any harm, because your immune system would have helped you to fight against this, the bacteria, the few bacteria that have entered into the system. So every diet you are going to eat without, when they are not fully cooked or they are not cooked, please, they should be washed very well. But there are some meal that you need to cook them very well. Your meat must be cooked very well, because most of your meat, remember, this meat is getting your meat, they are animals that have eaten, so they themselves can actually harbor some of these bacteria in them. So if they are not properly cooked very well, those ones may give some persons this food poisoning. Therefore, your fruits, your vegetables need to be washed properly, before ingesting them. Somebody's asking, can bitter cola cause food poisoning? Because I noticed stomach bites maybe when I never eat food before taking the bitter cola. Okay, now bitter cola will not cause food poisoning. If you remember your bitter cola, you need to clean them very well. Okay, let's assume that you have good hygiene in terms of taking this bitter cola. You just want to know if, and because you've noticed that you have stomach pain when you take bitter cola. Now, it's not going to cause, it doesn't cause food poisoning. Yeah. So you already have said something. You said whenever you did not eat before taking the bitter cola, that's when you have the stomach pain. So you should know that you need to eat. You need to eat before taking it. That will help to reduce your stomach pain. It's not a cause of food poisoning. Okay, is nail biting a risk factor for food poisoning? You may not be calling it food poisoning, but may be a risk factor for having some intestinal irritation and some intestinal irritation, because if your nails are not clean, they are contain that is, they contain some bacteria in them. They are dirty and they contain some bacteria, and you are putting them in your mouth to bite, to chew. You are indirectly eating those bacteria as well. So you can come down with any stomach disturbance. Also, the only place it can be a risk factor is if you are the one preparing the meal, and because your hand is dirty and you use the hand to prepare your meal. Yes, you can add as you have transferred those bacteria in the fingers into your meal. Not that because you are biting your fingers, it causes food poisoning. No, it won't give you food poisoning. So I will continue taking the question, but let's try and round up what we are saying. We've taken 30 minutes of our time already. As I said, Ask the Doctor every Sunday by 8 p.m. It's myself, Dr. Fred, who is on transit, but is with us in the spirit, and Dr. Blessing, who is not with us for today. We're discussing food poisoning. We've given the definition of food poisoning. We've said the signs and symptoms. We said that it is bacteria, the causative agents, which are bacteria, parasites, or their toxin that can cause it. We also said that some persons that can come down with food poisoning are those with their reduced immune system, poor hygiene situation, children, elderly individual, pregnant women can actually come down with this infection. And also, you should know that it is self-limiting. That is, even when you do not take medication, it can actually go on its own. It is not life-threatening. Note that it is not life-threatening. That is, most cases of food poisoning will not lead to death, except maybe we are having severe cases, severe symptoms, which when managed properly will also not lead to death. So these are some things we should know for now as we move forward to the treatment. Now, the treatment of food poisoning, remember, we don't prescribe medication, so I'll just give you some homemade remedy that we can do. One of the things you can do, because you are stooling and you are vomiting, means that you are losing a lot of fluid, and that's why some persons become very weak and they are irritated and all that, because they lost a lot of fluid and electrolytes. Now, so what you will need to do is to try to stay hydrated. It means that you should try and take a lot of fluid. take a lot of fluid, water, sometimes ORS mixture. You take it so you try to regain those things you have missed. So try to avoid any drink that contain caffeine, because caffeine can actually irritate the digestive system. So anything that does not contain caffeine, that is what you should drink and you should take. Now that is one way. Another way, some drink you can take coconut water. Yes, coconut water can also help you because it contains some electrolyte and all that, and help to boost it will help to boost your hydration level. So most of the food poisoning condition that because it's diarrhea and vomiting, that is losing of fluid. So we try to make sure that we replace those things that are lost. Now, how do you prevent? And also try to take a lot of rest. For those that because most of the time the person will become very weak, so you need to rest for a long period of time. You need to rest. Sometimes just be in the room doing nothing and try to while you are taking your fluid. So if there is any need to take medication, you need to see your doctor, who will tell you the kind of medication to take so that you'll be fine. And so you'll be fine. Why in severe cases, when we say severe cases, in the cases where these patients have lost a lot of fluid. Remember I said this food poisoning can last for up to 8 weeks. So for someone that is having passage of stool and vomiting for almost 8 weeks, this is like a severe case. So this person will need to go to the hospital, and where maybe IV line can be passed for this person, and try to hydrate the person again. Now, how do we avoid food poisoning? That is the prevention. How we can prevent food poisoning? One thing I will always tell you is that hygiene is the key in preventing anything. So when your hygiene level is top notch, you would have prevented up to 70 to 80% of infection that would have affected you. And food poisoning is even a part of it. You need to have good food handling, that is food safety, by handling them in a hygienic way. That is, you wash your food very well before preparing them. And if they are the ones that you don't need to put on fire, like your fruits, you need to wash them properly. And also, even before you prepare any meal, you also need to wash your hands properly. Now, remember, there's also a case, there are also some times when you eat some food, a daybreak meal, food that you prepared overnight, and the next morning you just carry and start eating without proper warming and all that. That can also lead to food poisoning. So you need to, even when you have daybreak meal, one thing you should do before you even make them a daybreak meal, you should protect them, preserve them very well by covering your meal properly, so that before daybreak, any bacteria around that is lying around to find their way inside. And by daybreak, you also need to warm them properly. You need to warm them properly, because these bacteria, they cannot stand heat. So when you warm them, when you try to heat your food properly, it kills these bacteria, So by then, you will be safe to eat them, and you will not come down with food poisoning. So we've been discussing food poisoning. We've said that food poisoning, I will just try to go through it again, and then we'll start taking our questions and see if Dr. Fred will join us and take some of the questions as the case may be. Now, food poisoning, as I said, is a foodborne illness. That is illness that is getting from our food. and when they are not prepared very well, and when the hygiene level of handling your meal are not top notch, we can actually come down with food poisoning. And I also said that the organisms that are that causes this food poisoning can be bacteria, can be parasites, and they can be viruses. And I said the most commonest bacteria are the E. coli and Salmonella. And I also said Shigella is also part of the bacteria that can actually cause food poisoning. Also, we said hygiene is a key. That is, before preparing your meal, you need to wash your hands very well. Wash your hands very well. Wash your meal, your product very well, and make sure that you prepare them in the normal heat that will help to kill these bacteria and their spores as well. Also, you should know that some persons that are carriers of this bacteria can also, even when your food is well prepared, can also be a transmitting factor. They can also help to transmit this food poisoning. That is why your hands should be washed properly. And also, you should know where you are buying your food. For those of us that used to buy food outside, you should please know where you buy your meal. You should know that their environment is very hygienic and they are keeping to a good precaution in terms of food preparation. Then, with that, we will know that yes, they are doing well. Then in that, we will know that they are doing well. Also, I said in terms of treatment, we want to say, because we will not tell you some medication that you can use, we want to say that you try to improve your hydration level, because that is what we are losing. You're losing fluid, you're losing electrolytes, so you need to increase them. You need to add to it. You need to increase them. So by taking a lot of fluid all the time, when you pass through, you try to take more fluid. It will help you to regain what you have lost. Now, also, when the case is now becoming too much, you know that you cannot bear it again, please go to the hospital and see your doctor. Now, Alice is asking, so it is time to ask now we'll be taking your questions. For those that have asked questions previously, I may not be able to get your question, but I will try to go back and see if I can get them, and we'll answer them together. Alice is asking, most people I know in diaspora, whenever they came back to Nigeria, some of them always encounter food poisoning. Is it due to location change? One, it may not be due to location change. You know, sometimes most of the things they eat there may be different from what we have here. Some persons, their stomach may not just be used to some food, so it can just be reaction. It can just be a reaction. So when they have some reaction like that, they can also pass through in that form. Also, food poisoning can also be part of it if the food are not well prepared very well. So one of the things you also need to avoid when someone already have food poisoning is spicy food. Food that has a lot of spice in it need to be avoided. Yeah, need to be avoided, because these things will irritate the stomach as well. Olushi Barak is asking, please, doctor, is it good to use hot water on fruits like garden egg, mango, etc.? Now, when we say wash your fruits very well, we didn't actually say the kind of water to use, but we know that when you wash them with, it must not be hot water. At least when you wash them with warm water, not cold water as well. When you wash them with warm water, you would have helped to clean most of the bacteria off these fruits. I remember I said something, and you washing your fruits may not remove everything. However, it must have removed a lot of these organisms to the extent that your system may be able to cover up for the others. Will be able to cover up for the others. So yes, washing your fruits, I will not say hot water, but let's say lukewarm water can actually help very well. Can help very well. Marian, good evening. And Winner is asking, what are the organs that food poisoning affect most in this? Is food poisoning affect most? Okay, is it the stomach? Now, it affects. I will not. I don't know how I will say this, but I will not want to pick any part of the GI tract, that is the gastrointestinal tract, where food passes through. So the stomach and the intestine are actually affected. The stomach and the intestine, they are really affected. Now, when you are having those stomach pain, it is the intestine that is squeezing. It is the intestine that is squeezing. They're trying to, they are not comfortable. So they are the one that is causing most of those pain. Even the stomach can be contracting, squeezing as well. And that's why you see yourself going to toilet more often. And now okay, let's not go into some things. And there are some villi in the intestine, the lining of the intestine and the stomach. Those things are also sheared off. And those are also some things that may lead to pain. So the intestine and the stomach are really affected when it comes to food poisoning. Now, also other organs of the body can be affected. Other organs, when dehydration sets in, when we say dehydration, that is the person have lost a lot of fluid, other organs can also be affected. And Dr. Miriam Bello said, hi, doctor. The other day, I went to buy spaghetti that expired since July 2020. Please, is that food poisoning? Okay, now, you know, spaghetti, they are already packed and they have their preservative. So when they say expired, is this preservative that are used to preserve it, they are the one that are really expired, and they can actually cause some irritation in the stomach. Yes, we can also call it food poisoning because they are like foodborne illness. You get them from food that you ate. Yeah, you get them from food that you ate. So they cause some serious irritation. They can cause some serious irritation in the stomach. I think it is, in this case, I will want to say that it is very necessary, it is very good that we please look at what we eat. Look at this already processed meal. You should try and check their label to know their expiring date and to know their expiring date. And also we should know that sometimes, okay, let's leave this. Let's leave whatever I wanted to say. Let's leave that. So it can actually lead to that, but due to the preservative that are used to preserve the spag, that when you eat them, because they have already expired, they can actually cause some irritation in the stomach. Okay, first I said he thinks that the bacteria in Africa foods is the reason why people in diaspora can't eat without food poisoning when they travel to Africa. I will not say that's not true. It's all about hygiene, because this E. coli and all of that we'll be talking about, it's not only in Africa, they're also in diaspora. They're everywhere. So if their food is not well prepared, even that in that diaspora they can also come down with food poisoning. Okay? They can also come down with food poisoning. It's just the way our food are prepared in this place. Yeah, as I earlier said, if the hygiene level is not top notch, most persons will actually come down with food poisoning. Now, Efosa, you've said it already. You ate dried fish you bought from an Africa shop in the European country that you are, and you experience pain and discomfort in your stomach. That's food poisoning. It's not like, is it in Africa? That's not an Africa. Even though it's an Africa shop in a European country, doesn't make that place an Africa. It's also in that European country. So I think it's the preservative, how it was preserved, and that leads to whatever that happens to you. Washing fruit with mixture of apple cider and water, is it good for the fruit so as to eliminate preservative from the fruit manufacturers? And please, let's continue to drop our questions. We still have roughly 11 minutes to stay in this live. So let's continue to drop our questions. And also, please share this live. I'll try to like as well. I beg, try and like, just click your like button. Also share the live so that other persons can actually join us. And remember that this is Ask the Doctor. And Alex, I'll answer your question. Remember that this is Ask the Doctor, that every Sunday by 8 p.m. that's when we do this program, 8 to 9 p.m. every Sunday. Dr. Fred, myself, and Dr. Blessings are the hosts of this program. Dr. Fred being the chief host, myself and Dr. Blessings are the co-hosts. However, Dr. Fred is not 100% available today, and it comes and go. It comes and go. Sometimes comes and go. So please continue to like, and also please share the live. Thank you. Now, what is the content of your apple cider? That's the first question. What's the content of your apple cider? So, Unless, thank you. What is the content of the apple cider? And your water. Yeah, when you will wash anything you wash with water, it's okay. And to eliminate your preservative and okay, yeah, with the vinegar and water, it's okay. It's not bad. Just to eliminate the preservative and everything that you found in your fruit. That's not bad. And you can, provided you use a lot of water, you use a lot of water so that even your vinegar can be rinsed off, and rinsed off the fruits that you want to consume. Yeah. So that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay. This question says, Doctor, can peanut causes diarrhea? Some persons react to some nuts, and peanut is one of the nuts some persons react to. So for some persons, it can actually cause diarrhea to them, not everybody. So you cannot say if Mr. A eats peanuts because he has diarrhea, Mr. B should not eat it. No. So because some persons react to some kind of food, so what they eat can also give them some irritations. Yeah, those are irritations that can occur. It's just like some persons when they take beans. Some people when they eat beans, some persons have running stomach, some persons have chest burn and all that. Yeah, doesn't mean that others cannot eat it, or it's just the cause of every diarrhea you have. No. And yeah, as I said, some persons can actually have it, but not always. So we still have 8 minutes to go, and I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Ask the doctor, as Dr. Fred will say, good life in a sense, keeping safe, making your hygiene a very good one in a sense. So please, let's continue. Okay, EJ, as I earlier said, we don't prescribe online. We don't prescribe on our live session. So I will not be able to answer your question. We don't prescribe on live session. I told you what you can do. You can take fluid, you rest, and try to increase your hygiene level and run away from fluid that contain caffeine or food that contain caffeine. Also, spicy food, you should run away from them. You can take a lot of fluid, a lot of soft diet, maybe rice and all that, but they must be well prepared. Now, if you are now you notice that this symptom is more than a week, please see your doctor. The doctor should be the one to tell you if you should take whatever medication you should take that will help you. Yeah. Yes, that will help you. So please, I'm sorry we'll not be able to answer that question, because if I do now, I've already prescribed for you. Okay. For those of us that were not here on the 1st of January, we want to also say Happy New Year to you guys. Welcome to the year 2023. We believe that this year will be wonderful for us, and I want to also use this medium to say a very big thank you to all of you that have always been with us in Ask the Doctor every Sunday by 8 p.m. Yeah, good evening, doctors. Please, can one get food poisoning from milk? Because I notice each time I take milk, I kind of get runny stomach and feel sick. Yes, some persons can have food poisoning from milk when they when the milk is not well stored. However, there are some people that have lactose intolerance. Yeah, when we say lactose intolerant, their body is not able to work on milk products, on milk. So when those kind of persons take milk, they always come down with diarrhea and they can be feeling sick. So I think Makoto Joe Bright, I think you should look into that. Now maybe maybe it's lactose intolerant that you are having, and that's why you are always having runny stomach and feeling sick anytime you take milk. So for that, if that is the case, I want to tell you should stop taking milk or reduce the quantity of milk you take. I also have some persons that they take some brand of milk. When they take other brand, they come down with a running stomach, or like this as well, and abdominal pain. So if this is also your case, you can actually want to try to see if there are other milk you can use that you will not be having this running stomach. Yeah, as I said, if the milk is not well stored, it can actually give you food poisoning. However, there are some cases where we call some persons have what we call lactose intolerant. That is, their system cannot work on milk that is taken. So what happens is that they start having running stomach. They start having running stomach. So that may just be your case. Okay, yeah. Food poisoning and poison for that some people eat are not the same thing. Now, food poisoning we are talking about is the one that is they are illness. We just tame them. We just call them food poisoning, and they are illness that you get from food, and that are caused by bacteria, virus, and parasite. It's not the one that somebody went to poison the food. No, they are two different things. And also, it's not all when you eat the food and you start stealing, you say, hey, somebody has poisoned my food. No, it's not true. Most of the time, it may just be that this person had food poisoning. So there are two different things, two different entity entirely, two different entity entirely. Yeah. Thank you, Alice, for bringing that. Yeah, I know some persons may actually think in that light, that once they have eaten something, it means that somebody that put the poison in the food. No, food. That's why at first I asked, what do you guys understand by the word food poisoning? Because I was expecting somebody to even say that at first, but well, I was glad that nobody said something like that. UBEJ. I think I just answered your question at first. I told you that we are sorry we don't prescribe on our live session, so I will not be able to tell you anything on this. However, I also told you that yes, you can take fluid, you can take coconut water. Yes, coconut water can help you, because these are fruits and homemade home remedy that you can do. Yeah, water, a lot of water, ORS can also help you, and this can help to reduce your stooling. No, they will help you to regain whatever you have stooled and whatever you vomited. So if you are thinking of medication, please, you need to see your doctor. You need to see your doctor. Your doctor will be the one to tell you if whatever drug you should take that will help you. Yeah, we just have 1 minute to go to end this live session on food poisoning, and we want to just do a little recap before our final word. A little recap we want to say that first, food poisoning are food-borne illness, that is illness that you can get from food that are not well prepared or they are not well handled. Yeah, those are food poisoning. We also said that they can be caused by bacteria, they can be caused by viruses, and they can be caused by parasites, and also by some toxins, so chemicals as well. Like when you eat food that is the preservative are expired, they can actually give you food. They can actually give you food poisoning as well. Okay, and we also said that most of the signs and symptoms that people will have when they have food poisoning are stomach pain, diarrhea, that is stooling. We also said vomiting, feeling like vomiting. Some persons will not vomit, but just have that urge that they want to vomit. And some persons can be weak, very weak, and irritated. Fever can be there, and in a severe case, we have some severe dehydration, and some persons can even start urinating blood and even stooling blood and all that. Yeah, in severe cases. We also said that food poisoning can last up to 8 weeks, but within the first 1 week, most cases would have resolved. In short, within the first 3 days, 3 to 4 days, majority of food poisoning would have resolved. And even when you do not take any medication, they can actually resolve on their own. And also, we try to tell you that one of the ways you can prevent food poisoning is proper cooking of your food. Also, when you wash your product very well. For food that does not pass through to fire, like your fruits, please wash them very well. And also, hand washing can also help you to solve most of the cases of food poisoning. Also, I want to also advise that when you try to get food from vendors, please be sure that your food vendors, their hygiene level is top notch, because some persons actually get that from there. As my lecturer once said, he said some of us will just go and buy salmonella with our money. That is, some of us go and buy food poisoning with our money. So try to be sure that the environment is very very clean before getting food from that. Not just the environment, the way the person also prepared the meal is very good. Now, AJ, thank you for thanking me. Alex, I want to say you are wonderful. You've been with us. Thank you so much. Joe Bright. Yes, eating canned food that have been open for days like sardine. Remember one thing we said is when you eat canned food that have been open for days, that have open for days. Remember one thing I said, your storage is also a very important thing you should know. And also when you keep some, remember when I talked about leftover meal, like this, your sardine now is just like a leftover canned food. So if it's not properly stored, these bacteria can actually enter them and grow. And when they've entered and grow, when you eat them, you will likely come down with food poisoning. But when they are properly stored, yes, you may not come down with it. And I want to even advise, and your canned food, like your sardine, most of your sardine, you can actually use them to cook something else. You can use them to cook something else that will pass through the fire. So why not use your leftover canned food as one of those things that you want to cook that will pass through the fire? And with that, even when those bacteria are there, the heat from the fire would have killed them. So with that, you save yourself from food poisoning. When you're eating them without passing them through fire and through heat, and they are not well stored, you can actually come down with food poisoning. You can actually come down. So let's be guided. Good life in a sense, that is, hygiene, prevention is cheaper than cure. We should know that prevention is cheaper than cure. Okay, we have come to the end of this live session. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody that have been with us from the beginning of this live session to the very end. Just 3 minutes past 9. Just 5 minutes past 9. 5 minutes past 9. I want to say a very big thank you to everybody. Thank you for being with us. We just discussed food poisoning and we are coming to an end. So I want to say that please, let's try to remember prevention is cheaper than cure. It's better than cure. And we also want you to know that good life na sense. Thank you. Bye-bye. And have a lovely day.